are in our first ever podcast.
Wow, pretty exciting.
I know, to be honest with you, I didn't even know what a podcast was until not long ago. So here we are hosting our own podcast in India. Forever Global Rally, how's it been so far?
Oh, it's been amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, the excitement and the people, I think their eyes are really wide open right now because it's just really different here. The culture, the food's been great. And the FBOs just have brought a lot of excitement, you know. I think things are really starting to happen. We're seeing some incredible momentum around the world. We're going to talk about that, I think.
Yeah, for sure, especially here.
Yeah, yeah.
Like we always say, India's like a world of its own, 1.4 billion people. And, you know, we got 20,000 people going to join us on Thursday and Friday.
Well, that's one of the reasons why we decided to come here. We wanted the rest of the world to see the potential that we see. And it's not just for India. This is for the future of forever, for everyone.
Yeah.
So I'm really excited for them tomorrow and Friday and Saturday, see the big event. Almost 20,000 FBOs are going to join us.
It's amazing. I can't even fathom that. Oh, by the way, we got to do something. It's our first podcast, man.
Yeah.
We better, what do you call that, toast?
Yeah, I call it Papa Top.
Papa Top?
We got a fab here from, where's it from?
From India.
Yeah.
Look at that.
Come on,
Green.
let's pop them. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, baby.
Well,
toast it.
Here's to Powered by Forever podcast.
Awesome.
All the best, mate.
Yes, sir.
Let's not screw this up.
Lovely taste.
Yeah, I really like that. I think there's a possibility that could go global because it tastes great.
Now, before we explain why this is a green can, not like the other fab, I think you should kind of explain to those listening, what the heck are we doing with this podcast?
Yeah, so I guess the genesis of this started probably maybe over a year ago, and people are asking us to put something out, and then we did you and I did a couple of sessions on stage where we just talked, you know, and then it kind of culminated in London. Do you remember just a few weeks ago? Gosh dang, I forgot we were in London. and after that, they saw the authentic sort of decision making, the discussion, the background, the information, and we get a lot of people said, hey, any chance you can do more of that? And we can work out what format that would make sense. And then Desiree started pestering us about, what about a podcast? What about a podcast? So I had to pull Google Podcasts and find out what that meant. And so that's kind of what started. So the idea would be that on a monthly basis, we would sit down wherever we are in the world and sort of chat about what's going on in the company, what we've seen, what we observed, maybe what we've learned on leadership ideas, maybe some mistakes we've seen, you know, and some directions, some policy discussions, you know, all those things which are interesting to the FBO and certainly interesting to us. So that's the thought process.
Yeah, and I was going to say, I think through that process, an FBO listening will hear some interesting maybe tips from other leaders that we've, you know, been able to hear, or, you know, something going on in a country that's really helped generating, you know, the sales and movement forward, and that would be beneficial to them. So, you know, that's the whole purpose, right? Is that they get something from this that can help them increase their sales, right?
Kind of like shared best practice.
Yeah, exactly.
Because one thing we get, which is amazing, is the opportunity to go all over the forever world. So you'll see the business in, I don't know, in Spain, and then you'll see it in London, and you'll see it in South Africa. So, and each business is kind of in a different place.
Yeah.
So we can
and by the way, we should explain, we're not in a studio right now. We're actually in the lobby of the hotel where we're at for Global Rally. So
no expense spared on this one.
So there's a little ambient noise, but don't worry about that. I think they can hear us because we got these big old microphones right in front of us.
I know, I feel like a pro. So yeah, Leap for London, that was the European incentive. That generated a kind of new energy for me when we got there, and it was packed for people all over Europe, and remember Macedonia, out of nowhere we had like 40 people that had qualified from Macedonia, and that was just an amazing eye-opener to me, that kind of a market that I'd sort of not forgotten about but overlooked, and to see them come through, and interestingly demanding translation and some of those issues. Some great, I'm trying to think about the motivational stories we heard, that girl that broke her back in the horse riding accident. What struck you about her? Do you remember that?
Just she was able to, so she broke her back in a horse accident, was paralyzed, right? From like the waist down. And, you know, I remember her saying how right after it happened, she thought perhaps her life was over. What else is there for her to do? And in a moment, she changed her mind and said, I am what I am. I'm going to do what I can the way I am. Right? And she went on to ride a motorcycle. What else did she do? She
learned to fly a plane.
She was in the London Marathon and finished it.
Yeah, she won in that suit, the Newcastle Marathon, London Marathon. Yeah, that was amazing.
I mean, it's an incredible story, and you know, it just kind of made me feel small. Like, you know, what am I complaining about? Trying to achieve greatness. I got everything I need to go do that.
Oh, that's so true. That when she showed that video of her just getting out of her chair, crawling across the floor and getting into her bed, just that, and how hard that was, and yet she's doing things that I can't do as what they would call able-bodied. That was a big moment for me. And the other one, maybe a little smaller, and I know you noticed this too. Do you remember that girl? She was brand new supervisor. I think she was from Wales. We met her, and her upline had convinced her to sing. Do you remember that? She came.
We had a Eurovision contest.
And you and I sang Sweet Caroline at the top of our voices. And she came off stage, and I remember you gave her that huge hug, and she was shaking because she'd achieved this thing where...
Tears coming down.
That was so cool to see how Forever gives people the opportunity to step out of their comfort zone and explode, you know? And
believe in yourself, you know? That's what it's all about.
And have someone believe in you.
Exactly.
So true. So from London, which was brilliant, we came home for a week, and then went to, we went to Asia.
Taiwan, Hong Kong.
In Taiwan, there's a couple things that I remember. The longevity of the staff. Some of those guys have been, 25, 28 years. It was wonderful to see them. I remember, because one of the reasons we were there to see the new building. Why are we selling the old one?
Yeah, so we've had an office floor there in Taiwan that we've owned for almost 20 years now. And it served us well, and we've had a lot of great memories there. But we're looking to upgrade the experience of our offices. And, we could have put a lot of money into the existing office and made some upgrades to it. But we felt like it was just time to go to a new location and just be, a fresh start again kind of thing. And so we found this lovely brand new building. No one's ever been on this floor that we have. And so we're going to do it up really nice, and it'll be a great new experience for the FBO. And I think give them like a brand new feeling. And in fact, funny enough, sales are going up right now in Taiwan. It's been pretty flat for a long time, but I think this is just the announcement of it has generated a lot of excitement, and we're starting to see some movement there in sales. So that's great. Definitely. Good job for the Taiwanese FBO.
What's interesting about that is sometimes, and maybe an FBO hears this, they hear about us selling a building or moving a location or something, and they'll say, oh, Forever's downsizing or whatever. And when I got there, and I know you remember this, and we were queued up outside trying to wait for the one elevator that was working this day in the old building to go up there, and to see a building that definitely needed help. It's got old, and it doesn't represent Forever well. And then we got to the new building, we see this contrast of this new modern, it's got the wonderful garden up top. And
it's got 4 elevators, not just one.
Exactly. And I think that we've got to understand that the past is wonderful. Our legacy is vital. It's ingrained in us. It's part of our wiring and our DNA. But we've got to be able to move forward, and see things like the Scandinavian building. Beautiful building. When did we buy that? Do you remember? Is that from Copenhagen Rally?
It's been 15 years ago.
Yeah. Beautiful.
Yeah. No, and absolutely.
Amazing, what do you call that? Kind of, I don't know, crown piece or whatever the terminology is. But remember we went there, and internet doesn't work, and you know the rooms don't quite function, and now we're moving into this fantastic modern, forward-thinking, multi-purpose unit with a bar and coffee bar and gym and everything that is a much better place to build your business. That's kind of the philosophy of Forever, right? Is that we're
well, and I think it's part of the example piece. You know, we always say to the leaders, you got to be an example.
Yeah.
If you want more recruitment, you got to go recruit yourself and let people see, you know, that you're recruiting. Same with the company. We're saying we want to upgrade the experience of the FBO in the company. Well, we can't just say that and not do anything about it, right?
Yep.
And so I think we're serious about that. And I think the FBOs are going to start to see that in their country. It may not happen all at once. It can't happen all at once. But slowly but surely, we're trying to find areas where we can be better and have a more exhilarating experience when you come to the office versus just the same humdrum, you know, of yesterday.
I love that word, exhilarating. That's exactly what it is. And the younger people, and not younger in heart, age is not what's important, but they can come and connect and feel the freshness and the vibrancy of the company.
That we, as the leadership of the company, believe in the future of this. We're not just sitting down with our legs up saying we're not going to do anything, right? We're trying to show by example, we believe in this thing and we're going to grow this thing. Yeah,
for sure. So we went through all that in Taiwan, jumped on the plane that night, and we were pretty wiped out. Let's be honest, I haven't been to bed for 2 days, and we're not complaining. It's just a fact. Got to Hong Kong and celebrated Chinese New Year with the folks there. That was pretty fun.
That was awesome.
Yeah, great energy, loads of excitement. Lot of the business is fantastic there.
I mean, think about it. Hong Kong, well, they say they only have like 7 million people that live there.
On the books?
Yeah, I think it's a little bit more than that when you look at the city. But let's just say 7 million people that live there.
Yeah.
And those guys do almost 10,000 cc's a month.
Yeah.
Now, we have countries that are 20, 30, 40, 50 million people, and they're not doing that many cc's.
Oh, true.
That's pretty incredible.
Yeah, and consistently for years.
Yep.
They've been doing well. So shout out to Erwin and his team there. Great. We got to cut a pig up, which I've never done in a meeting before, to celebrate Chinese New Year, which is pretty amazing. From there, oh, by the way, we celebrated Chinese New Year, and today is in India the start of Eid for our Muslim FBOs too. So happy Eid to all of our Muslim friends around the world. And I think we've got a double Eid going, because yesterday was, I think the guys in Turkey were telling me it was in Turkey yesterday, and today is in India. So it's
makes my head spin.
Yeah, I know, for sure. It's like when I travel home from this event, I'll have 2 birthdays.
That's right.
As we go through the, so I'm looking forward to 2 sets
happy
of
birthday coming
Thanks,
up.
brother. Thank you.
April 13th.
Yeah.
Aidan's birthday.
Send me a present. Yeah. So from went to Hong Kong. From Hong Kong, we went to
Australia.
Sydney. Flew through the night again. Landed in Sydney and got to visit the office.
Yeah.
We met with some great people there. The business needs help there, let's be honest.
Yeah, talk about upgrades.
Oh yeah. Absolutely. We got to be honest, and one of the things I hope in this podcast will be authentic. It didn't look the way we wanted to look. The office didn't.
Very disappointing.
Yeah, we didn't present the message that Forever and the value and the quality of our brand. Great staff. They're wonderful people.
They're on a limited budget.
Yeah.
We understand that, but we're definitely taking interest in the Australian market and what we can do to improve there. It's a big market.
Talk about potential.
Yeah.
You got a great population that's health focused, and really, I think I see great things for Australia. We're working on some leadership changes. We got some great announcements there. But we were also there to celebrate, well, apart from Taylor Swift being in town, which surprised us, because everywhere Gregg and I went, there was women.
Yeah.
We thought, where's the men in this town?
The Eros tour.
Yeah. So, but we were there to celebrate with the Japanese.
Yeah. Yeah, we had, about 300, I think, come from Japan, the Japanese leaders, and talk about consistency.
Oh, my goodness.
number one for
forever.
almost the existence of forever. But incredible leaders, and it's great to spend time with them. They had an incentive program they ran, and we were supposed to go to Sydney for a global rally.
Yeah.
You remember that?
Yeah, way back. Do you remember that sitting in the boardroom March or whenever that was? 20.
How can I forget?
And Nick came in and said, hey, there's a chance we might have to cancel the super rally or the global rally.
And what did I say?
Hell no. The show must go on, you remember? And for about a week we were looking at the numbers of this thing called COVID, and we couldn't make our minds up, and that was a tough decision-making process.
Well, it became easy when it was like, you're not going anywhere, right? That's what they do. But yeah, that was unbelievable. But anyway, going back to the Japanese, we had to spend some time with Honami, who was there with us.
Oh, absolutely.
And who's become our number one leader in the forever world. And speaking of Honami, we just had our GLT. I know we're jumping around here a little bit.
That's cool, right? Yeah.
We had our GLT summit just before the rally started here in India, and Honami was gracious enough to do a training for the GLT and show them exactly what she does. And I want you to kind of give, what was your impression of that?
So first was the sheer, I've used this word again, authenticity of it. This is exactly what I do. So there was no secrets. There's no, you remember the old days of a closed meeting, an open meeting?
Yeah.
She just stood up, she put a presentation together, and I don't know if you know, but she sent that exact to all of the GLT as well.
Wow.
And that was the first thing I noticed was no secrets. This is exactly what I did. The second thing was the unbelievable amount of activity. Every day, every week, every 2 weeks, every 3 weeks, every 4 weeks, she's got a plan. And the discipline of that plan was stunning. There's no surprise in me why she's so successful, because she has a plan for every person that comes into her business. It might look different than someone else does it, but she has a plan. And I think afterwards we said, hey, how did that make you feel to the GLT? And a lot of them was like, frick, we're not anywhere near enough work.
And and you're saying let's be authentic here. She is so authentic, because I think it wasn't 30 minutes after that meeting ended, I was walking down the hallway of the hotel and I saw her doing a Zoom thing.
Oh yeah.
She had her camera pointing at her, and she was, talk about authenticity.
Yeah.
She went from training the GLT to a meeting with all her FBOs, within 30 minutes.
The activity, the discipline.
She's the number one FBO.
Yep.
If she's doing that, and we're not doing, all of us are we ever going to catch her? No. We got to step up.
That is a great leadership principle of work, and one that is getting less and less attention. Is the idea that you have to work.
Yeah.
And we see that the work ethic is so vital in success. And I love to sit down and grind a little bit on Instagram, and I see a lot of people looking for an easy way to do this, but all of our leaders globally, they work. We see that. And in going back to Australia, do you remember Kobayashi? Because he's got a massive business in Japan too.
Absolutely.
And you remember the baseball player?
Yeah.
He talked about mindset and how he worked with that guy.
Yeah.
To basically represent himself better. You remember he was struggling?
Yeah.
And,
he said he was one of the most talented baseball players they've seen in a long time.
Yeah.
And he was supposed to make the big leagues and do really, really well. And for some reason, his confidence just dropped and just didn't believe in himself, and could barely make the minor league team, the lower level team. And so he spent some time with them and built a relationship and really tried to build his confidence up. And through that whole process, the kid became the superstar that he was meant to be. He started believing in himself, and shows you how powerful the mind is, right?
Yeah, and the power of mentorship and being a good sponsor.
Absolutely.
We all need that, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
This is too hard to do alone.
Yeah.
We had a chat, you and I, with an FBO recently that said, I don't need you. I don't need anyone to do this. And it kind of broke my heart a bit, because I don't know about you, but I don't know if I could do this alone.
No, I don't think anyone can.
Yeah.
And I think that's the cool thing about the way Forever's set up is, even if, you know, it's like kind of having a mom, right? Everyone has a sponsor, because that's how you get into the business. Yeah. But not all sponsors are there for you and, you know, help you and support you, and you know, and that's just a fact of life. But it doesn't matter, because there's a built-in support system. No matter what, you always have someone in your upline who's going to be interested in your success. You have terrific office staff all over the world that's, you know, they're dedicated to help you and support you. All the online support that you can get now. I mean, think about 20 years ago. You know, how far we've come with what materials and support you can get online now is incredible. So really, there's no excuse to say nobody's helping me, nobody's supporting me. That's because you're living in a cave.
Yeah.
Get out of the cave.
And it can be a self-built cave, right?
Yeah.
It nearly always is.
Yeah.
Yeah, and isolation. And I think that we've got to be careful not to isolate ourselves. We can find solitude. Positive. So I know that's something you love to do, get on your horse and ride and spend time in your own thoughts. I think that's positive. But when we isolate ourselves, it goes south pretty quick.
Yeah, absolutely.
I've definitely seen that in some of our really successful people have kind of fallen off a little bit as they start to build an island and find themselves alone. And I think that's a principle we've got to be careful of.
Yeah.
How do we keep people close to us? How do I have to act to make sure that doesn't happen? What do I have to watch out for, do you think?
Well, probably selfishness,
Yeah.
you know, that selfish feeling that sometimes comes in. And when you have success, sometimes that can go to your head, right? You can, your ego gets a little bit big and you think, it's because of me, I've done all this. And I think, you know, you just got to go back to your roots of, you know, the reason why you're at any FBO, Honami, Rolf, everyone, the reason why they're at that place is because there's thousands and thousands of people helping them get there.
Yeah.
And that's a huge responsibility, really, when you become a leader like that, because people are, you know, depending on your attitude and what you're doing. And so if you're isolating yourself, guess what? Everyone else is going to start doing that.
Yeah, it's like that monkey see, monkey do thing.
Yeah.
That's so true. Watch out for that, right?
Yeah.
You know, like in all aspects, and that's a great observation. So we left Sydney.
Wait a minute.
Yeah, remember?
All the way back to Sydney now.
And we flew home, and I was home for a couple of days. I went off to Washington. I had the opportunity to spend some time with some congressional...
Now, what were you doing? Are you running for president?
Yeah.
I thought you already were president.
No, yeah, president of something I love, but technically I can't because I wasn't born in America, but they invited us over, the CEOs, presidents of about 30 of the top DSA companies in the world, they invited to Washington to discuss them. Policies that were applicable to it was more about independent contractors, really, you know, when we got there, talking about how they wanted to classify independent contractors as employees, which obviously is not a good idea for anybody as far as we're concerned. But it was a unique experience. Like, we literally were in the White House discussing policy, and that was kind of unique. And it was a very powerful reminder of the power of our business. At one point, one of them stood up and said there's 17 million people in the US alone that are earning their income through the DSA or direct sales.
Wow.
17 million people.
Just in the US?
Just in the US, yeah. And I was like, whoa. And, you know, and I was sat next to a lady who has built her business. She had a horrendous incident when she was younger, when she was sexually assaulted, and it changed the trajectory of her life. And so she wanted to empower women to protect themselves, and it was quite moving, you know, to hear her story. And you know, we testified strongly of the power of the empowerment of our industry, and it was really cool. There was a lot of support, you know. There was a lot of people that weren't, you know, from the congressional side.
Yeah. So let me ask you.
Yeah.
So one of our challenges right now in the company is compliance, right?
Yes.
So talk maybe a little bit about what you learned, and I know you're becoming very passionate about the compliance aspect of the business, and it's important for our future, right?
It's vital. It's vital to understand the rules of the game, and we have to take it seriously, not because we're compelled to, but because it makes sense. And what we mean by compliance typically is income claims, medical claims, and unrealistic expectations that are presented. Tell your story. Absolutely. Your story is true, it's yours, it's vital, but tell the whole story.
Yeah.
Tell about when you started, the difficulty, the ups and the downs, the challenges. What we don't want to see from any company is a guy sitting on a jet saying, call me. Because that's not realistic. What they should say is, I've worked my guts out for 20 years. I've failed here, I've succeeded here, and built my life over a period of decades to get to this point. That's okay.
Yeah.
And as a company, we're going to be striving to ensure that our people behave that way, to tell the true story. Why? Because we don't need to tell anything else.
Yeah.
There is no barrier to entry. So it is truly empowers everyone in the world with an opportunity to succeed. And I'm passionate because we can do that. We don't need to cut the corners. No. We don't need to say things that aren't true. We don't. And also, compliance is a lot more about what you can do as opposed to what you can't do. And so we're really putting a lot of effort into making sure that that's something.
We just did a video, right?
Yeah, compliance video in the US.
Yeah.
And that talks a lot about, so every new FBO in the US gets to watch that. It's about a 4 or 5 minute explanation about what you should do and what you shouldn't do. It's cool, you know, and I think it helps people take the business much more serious, you know?
Yeah.
And so we're excited about that. We're looking at some company policies that need to be updated, you know.
One of the things, and maybe on a future podcast we can dive a little bit deeper into that, is I think with the online tools we have, it kind of helps you stay compliant or gives you a pathway to that. And I know we've done some training here with Rob Ferguson and Yvain Lancey about FLP 360, and what an incredible tool for an FBO to use, right? Where are we going with that?
Yeah, it's a brilliant reminder. Is we're going to be using 360 as a global communication tool going forward. So right now it's it's where people go for data. You know, they want to, where am I in my business, chairman's bonus or Eagle manager.
And there's a lot of data.
Oh yeah, there's more than they know. You know, we know from our matrices and statistics that people aren't using it anything like what they should. We recognize it's not cost effective for some people when they first come into the business. What we decided to do is bifurcate it, split it in half. So we're going to have a pro version of 360, which provides all of the high level stuff that our top people need. And we're going
Which
to have
is like more of a subscription based, right?
Yeah, I don't know the exact number, probably $15 to $20 a month, something along those.
It's nothing.
No, especially if you have the kind of volume that supports that. But for the rest of the world, anyone that's an assistant supervisor or above will now have access to all of the global support that we offer: international bonus processing, domestic bonus processing, trainings, meetings, leadership, all of the different things that we offer, and 360 Lite, which will give you access to the basic information you need to understand your business, and it will allow us as a company to communicate directly to you through push notifications. All of that's only going to be $3 a month. So it's not a profit center for us, as you know, but I think what we decided to is invest in it as a means to communicate and to get best practice. So everyone's getting the data from the same point.
Yeah.
So we're excited about that. Next question is when? Probably the last quarter of 24, I think that'll come in. So that's going to be a cool breakthrough.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think it's an incredible tool. In fact, every time I hear them show us a new, report or whatever that they've come up with, I'm like, man, I don't even know the power of it, the extent of it. So really, I hope you guys, you're listening. I hope you can learn it. And if you don't, they've done quite a few training videos on it now, I understand, and they're continuing to release more. So look for those, because that's the important thing, is you use it. You learn how to use it, right, for your benefit.
Yeah, definitely. One of the things was one of the new upgrades is every time you go to a new page, there'll be a video on there that explains how to use that page or that report or that. So that's there as well. And they just added the downline manager report, which is really cool. The trend report's now on the mobile part of it. So like you said, probably every month something new appears on 360.
One of the basics ones I looked at, or they're showing the other day, is you can run a report. So say you're, a decent sized manager, and you have managers in your group, and within that there's supervisors, and it's all spread out. And you can run a report and see which one of those is not quite at 4 cc's, but they're getting close to it.
Yeah, close to me.
Can you imagine if you could see that, know who they are, and contact them, motivate them, and now you've increased the number of people that are active in your downline? What's that going to do to your bonus?
It's amazing. Back in the day when we first started, you had to wait until you got your bonus recap to find out if somebody had more product.
It's incredible what you have at your fingertips now.
So those are push notifications that are built into they were being launched this week, all of those close to move out reports. So 360 is amazing. I think are you telling us we're done? We've been talking too long? You can't see what we see, but there's a bunch of people here that are watching us chat.
Telling us what to do.
Yeah. And we've kind of forgot.
And we just ignore them.
We're just chatting away here. So
no, this has been fun.
Hey, I want to talk about level up before we.
Okay.
Is that cool?
Yeah.
Because we went to Dominican Republic.
Yes.
So let's go back a step though, because that was a massive investment. The company's certainly not. It doesn't make any financial sense to be sending people to the Dominican Republic, but what was your thought on that? Because it was your idea, remember?
Yeah, I totally remember.
Yeah.
We were flying to Bali for the global rally in Bali. And, I am super committed to growth of this company. And I want to see the FBOs grow. And I want to do whatever we can within our power to motivate people into the growth mode, growth mindset. And so you and I discussed on the airplane going over there, what could we do to give an incentive for people to improve and grow? And that's where we kind of came up with, hey, if you can level up your global rally qualification, right? So if you go from 1.5K to 2.5 or 2.5 to 3.5 and so forth, then what could we give you?
Yeah.
And we thought about that. You could go do other trips, but we thought the most inspirational thing for an FBO leader who's really interested and committed would be to go see the aloe fields in the Dominican Republic, where it all starts, right? When you have a product in your hand and you're trying to sell it to someone, think about if you're standing where it all starts from the aloe plant that's in the ground. And it's very unique because, there's definitely not another direct sales company out there that can say they have the world's largest aloe fields in the world.
Amen.
Nobody can say that, but forever.
Yeah.
And that's what you get to go see.
Yeah.
And so we thought that was pretty motivational and would inspire a lot of people. And by golly, I think it doubled the amount I thought that we're going to qualify for.
Nick had a hernia. Because the DR is not easy to get to.
No, it's not.
And
especially out there.
Yeah.
I mean, it's out in the middle of nowhere, as you know.
Yeah, it's hard to get to DR, and then you've got to fly. We charter planes to fly them into.
So now when we take you to level up, you're not staying out in the little village where the aloe fields are. You actually get to stay in a beautiful, beautiful resort right along the coast of the Caribbean Sea. It's amazing and beautiful, and we have fun. We do some beach activities while we're there. We do some incredible training. Which was, not just from us, but to hear from each of you and what you're doing and learn from each other. And then, of course, the highlight is flying over to another city, Santiago, and then we get in buses and drive out to the aloe fields, and you get to meet the people who are picking the aloe leaves and who are filleting the aloes in the processing plant area, and you get to see the whole process. What you see on the video isn't fake. It becomes real life to you.
It is for me. It's emotional and almost spiritual. And I don't want to sound over-egged a bit, but it is incredible. You stand there, and as far as you can see in all directions is aloe.
Yeah.
And you know the impact that has on the millions of people around the world that are involved in an organization. Level Up was fantastic. And here's the point from a compliance point of view. What you described is wonderful, but the work that's needed to get to qualify for Level Up is flipping high level. It's very, very difficult. There was only probably 65 FBO ships globally that qualified for that. So it just gives you an idea of how much work and dedication that is needed to put into that. That's not typical. Hence the fact that the event was so untypical. It was amazing, the personality of the people that came and their gratitude. And I suppose we should start thinking about wrapping up now, because to be honest, Gregg and I talk like this constantly anyway, so the fact that you've jumped into our lives for a minute, and the one thing that comes to my mind is we think about summing up our discussion today. We talked about isolation, we talked about travel, we talked about everything. The word for me is gratitude. You mentioned this yesterday with the country managers in when you summed up everything, was how grateful you were. And I hope that's what we can get across in this podcast series, is how grateful we are for this opportunity. And as we close out, just a couple thoughts on charity, our Forever Rex Moen Forever Giving Foundation. Because we're grateful for the resources and impact that we have, but we got to be able to do more, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, when you talk about being grateful and getting yourself out of the way, not being selfish, and thinking just about yourself, the best way to do that. When people are feeling sorry for themselves, the best way to fix that is to help someone else.
So, man, that's
give
legit.
Service to someone else. And sometimes, when we're in our communities and whatever, maybe we don't see the needs or know what that means, what we can do. And the reason why we have the Rex Moen Forever Giving Foundation is to make it an easy way for them to give of themselves just a little bit, right?
Yeah.
But, when you do that around the forever world, and each one gives just a little, it can become a huge impact to somebody out there. And that's what it's all about. We have our little guy here, our little India forever baby, and I think here in India we're promoting a charity project right now. Tell them a little bit about that.
Yeah, that's our water project, and one of the things in rural India is the access to fresh water. It's a challenge.
Big.
And in fact, Sierra was working closely, and she found an organization here that is focused on getting fresh waters to individuals and families. And we're excited about it, but I got to be honest, we're not raising enough money. For $240, which is a sizable donation. I think it starts, somewhere around about $10 and works its way up to $240. Individual and a family is $240, provides them the water. And we need more donations, to be honest. We certainly are not quite where we need to be. The aloe babies have sold really well here, but you just need to go online to forevergiving.org, and it's quite simple to make a donation. And that we certainly need to help with more of that. You've seen the stuff we've done in the past, the Turkish earthquake more recently, the incubators in Greece, a bunch of things over the last few years, but certainly we could be raising millions if we all just give a little bit.
Absolutely. And like you said, we're not asking a lot, even a $10 donation
be amazing.
Times, thousands of people adds up real quick, and you can go on Forever giving.org and see all the different projects that we've done. We don't keep the money, other than to use it to help people around the world. And so there's your little bit that you can start at least to give back to communities, and one day it'll be your community,
I love what you said about the best way to get out of your own way is to help someone else.
Absolutely.
I can't think of a better way to finish the podcast, really, is that, if you want to forget about your problems for a minute, spend time with somebody else. Because we say that constantly. As we move forward in this series, we'll tell some stories.
Yeah.
People that we've met, stories that they tell. Thinking about Gary getting involved, telling us about manufacturing, about, for perfect example, we started with why is it green fab here and not red fab? There's a story behind that, and we started, but I'm sure that we probably covered enough today. Here in India, as tomorrow we'll be hitting the big stage to recognize people from all over the world, our global leadership team, our Pac 20. The movement of our product globally is remarkable. The people that are enjoying our product, whether customer or FBO, is amazing. Chairman's bonus celebration, that's going to be amazing as we celebrate that. And the highest level recognition we've ever done will be Saturday afternoon, and there's a lot to be seen.
And if you're listening and you're not here in India, make plans now to be in
Paris.
Yeah, baby.
And we'll be announcing the location for EMR 25, is that
yes.
right? EMR 25 on Friday, end of Friday.
Yep.
I saw that on the schedule, so not long before they'll find out where we're going for EMR. Looking forward to the boat.
Yep.
Man, we could talk about a million things.
I know.
We got to shut up.
Hey, I think we finished with another cheers to growth in forever.
I love it.
We love you guys, and we'll see you next time.
Love you. See you soon. Remember, powered by forever. Good taste, that one. I like it.